Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Quest, episode number 63. And today we got a guest who I'm just meeting today, and I'm excited to hear some stories.
Yeah.
Everyone, welcome Anup Pandey. How you
Yes.
doing?
Very, very good. Beautiful day outside in Austin, Texas. Oh,
Yes.
but I'm happy to be here inside as well with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah. We're happy to have you. I know Anup I met him from the Cosmic Mastermind last year, and I knew he had a lot of interesting things to share with us on his journey, his quest in life. So I was eager to have him on. And so thank you for being here. We would love to start your journey in your childhood. What was your childhood like? Where did you grow up? What kind of challenges did you have?
Okay, well, thank you for this opportunity and this conversation. I hope my story is very exciting. It's a lot of ups and downs, obviously, like human life is supposed to be, because we get bored over there, so we come here for those ups and downs. So I was born in Calcutta, one of the densest places on earth. You can't walk without touching other people, and people don't mind. That's why people, when they come from India, they touch you in a bus and stuff. They don't say sorry or anything because it's in the nature of existence over there that you've got to touch people without, you can't move. So that was Calcutta. But my family moved from Calcutta to Delhi within the first year. So I didn't experience Calcutta then, but like in a typical old Hindi movie, when you become 20 years old, you go back to your original place. So when I was 20, my first job, no, 24, after I graduated from college, my first job was actually in Calcutta. So I did engineering and stuff. But my family is, was a Brahmin family, the priest. So it's in the DNA to be preachers. Okay.
Hmm.
So, so the DNA already had that curiosity towards spirituality and stuff like that. And my family, not my nuclear family, because my dad left the small town India, where more traditions are practiced. Every morning you get up, you must have a shower at 6, you must take care of all your bathroom business. So you're taken care for the day. And then the first thing you do is you sit in front of the altar and you pray and meditate and, Hanuman Chalisa and things like that. But my family moved to, so when the families traditionally, when the traditional families move out of the smaller cities into these big metropolitan cities, the men out of the family stop doing the prayers and stuff. It's only the woman that does it. And so my mom, when we were growing up, every morning take the shower and sit in front of the altar and do 1 hour of meditation and prayers before she started her day. Um,
Wow.
and every summer vacation, I would experience that small town India. We would go to my grandfather's house. He was a criminal lawyer. His grandfather was a high court judge under the British rule. So the British had educated a lot of Indians who, the upper caste Indians would, you know, prioritize education. So they would educate and become lawyers for the British Empire. And so when the British left, my family legacy, so everybody in my family, my uncles, my grandfathers, they're all lawyers. And maybe that's why I did environmental law in college just as a one course. And then I became an environmental engineer. But that's how I learned to read law, that it's always about reference to one page to the other, to the other. Um, so the habit of spirituality came from going for 3 months because women in those days didn't work. So the summer vacation meant all my cousins went and stayed there in the small town in this big giant mansion that you see always in Hindi movies. So it was like that, you know,
Yeah.
everybody playing in the afternoon. There's a big giant courtyard. The food is being cooked in the courtyard. The cooks come, the servants come. In the morning, my grandmother, when she woke up, she went into the big yard. They had vegetable garden, the birds chirping. It was very beautiful. It's a
Wow.
very spiritual experience. You would pluck the flowers in the morning because the flowers, as I learned from my experience with the witchcraft people here, that flowers are very high vibrating. That's why you put flowers in front. So there's a frequency vibration, you know. And so she would pluck the roses and the marigold and put it in front of the. So there was a separate room, one entire room, all the altars and gods. It was just not one altar, it was one full room with marble. It was beautiful, smelled great. And that's where she would do the prayers with the door open, half she'd be outside the room and praying and playing the gong in the morning. And there was this tulsi plant in the middle of the courtyard, and she would water it and go in circles around it. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, and I was going through a school system that was inherited from the British, where you were taught to look at your grandmother's traditions as superstition. You know, oh, so you would read this stuff, oh, animal worship, ancestor worship, all bad shit, and that's what my family was doing. That we have this festival where we call on our ancestors. Oh, you ancestor worshippers, like I'm thinking in my mind, you know. So but now all of that stuff that I thought was superstition, because in Hinduism they don't brainwash you, they don't indoctrinate you. You just learn through observation. Things are happening, rituals are happening, so many festivals, festival for when you cut the hair first time. That's why Indian hair is so strong because within a few months of you being born or something like maybe first year, they shave you completely. And then your new hair comes out is harder, like more strong.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's a ceremony when the first time your ear is pierced. There's a ceremony and then there's festival and dancing. Like everything is a festival. First time you feed solid food to the baby, that's a festival. Like everybody comes, there's so many rituals, there are not enough holidays in this country to do it. Uh, so all of that, little things every time, like, and so many people getting married, big joint family. The big joint family thing is what makes life really rich and also complicated. There'll be some drama, gossip, because humans, but it's a good one where it's blood related, and there's also a patriarchy and also matriarchy. So the conflict is resolved very quickly because as you grow, you have respect for the elders. So you have to stand by whatever they say. This whole equal thing is causes a lot of and the conflict remains. Over there, it's like, no, this is how it's going to be, and then you say, okay, Babaji, okay. So there was this whole structure from the dad side and the mother side, the grandfather, the grandparents, and lots of cousins, and a lot of lots and lots of cousins. I was the eldest amongst them. So we would stay for 3 months, and we would bond, we would play in terrace and fly kites, and it was very like Rudyard Kipling's India. You know, if you read Rudyard Kipling's book and stories, he was a British author that grew up in India during the British time. So it was very Mowgli-like, cow in the backyard. Outside there was a cow. They would milk every day. And the cow would have its own tantrums, and it was loved very well. There are stories in India where they sell a cow to a different person. They're so attached to the family that they would break chains and come back. Somehow they figured out how to come back. There are stories like that you can hear. They want to be with the family that they grew up with. Just because
Wow.
they don't wag their tail doesn't mean they don't love you.
Yeah.
You
Makes
know.
sense though. It's the connection, the bond.
Wow, that sounds so fun.
That's why so in small town India, in the village, that's their dairy, that's their milk, that's their animal protein that the villagers get is you milk it. You don't go to a grocery store to get butter. You
Mhm.
milk it and then you stir it. So I've seen and smelled all that. The life smells. The other dimension of nose is missing here because everything's sanitized. Every time we eat, we have to like wash everything with the antibacterial stuff. Whereas there, you can smell the cow when you come out, the milk, the fresh milk that comes from the morning milking by the family members. Oh, it's just the milk when I came here just smelled plastic. From the plastic can, it didn't seem real milk at all. It was just incredible. I just had to get over that after some time. Anyway,
Wow.
so a lot of prayers, a lot of meditation stuff in the mornings. I observed all of that. And then when I was there in my small town, there were lots of books on Krishna's story, Rama's story, and then kirtans would happen. My grandmother would have host kirtans in her, and that's why she's very happy with my sound baths because it's kind of similar. So when I do my sound baths, if there's a psychic in there, I mean, when I started, some psychic would say, "Oh, there's a mother, your grandmother's here, and she's saying she's very proud of you."
Oh.
And it would be the same statements. This is why it's like what is scientific proof? It's like every time somebody says something, any customer walks in who's psychic, oh, your grandmother is here. And she's saying she's very proud of what you're doing. Exact same words for months and months. Every time I would curate a psychic for my store when I started the store, oh, your grandmother's coming through. And she's saying she's very proud of what you're doing.
Mm.
Exact same words. It's
Wow.
just the grandmother that was in that house that we praise every day, morning, evening, very nice, very nice, very holy. Um, and so, the gong every night. And so I play the gong now. So that's how I grew up, with a lot of religious books that would be the stories of Krishna. There are also comic forms. There are also very books of moral stories. The moral science is no longer taught in the schools here, but stories of uh, this guy was walking, and then he saw a poor kid. He was shivering. So he took his shirt off and he gave him his shirt and came home without the shirt. All those kinds of stories of generosity and compassion. I grew up reading those during the summer vacation. Um, and then the kirtan also. I would dance in the kirtans. I think it's getting out of focus.
Wow.
Hello. Um,
There you go.
So
Wow.
yeah, so that was it. I didn't learn all the mantras and stuff because it was never imposed. It was like mostly the women knew how to sing those. The boys didn't. The boys just came and danced and ate the food on in the ceremonies. I
Wow.
want to learn that, and so then when I came here as an engineer, also Anand Ma, she's like the real guru. Some of the community may know Anand Ma. She was like an incarnate, like Mahesh Yogi, who brought yoga or something, transcendental meditation. When he
Okay.
met Anand Ma, he said that most gurus are going upwards. She is God that came down. So there's two ways of seeing a guru. There's gurus who are God coming down, and then there are other gurus who are going up to God. Uh, so when I went to her ashram, she was our family guru. And so we used to go a lot to her ashram in North India, where the people go nowadays to learn yoga and stuff. So that's where her ashram was. And she's now ascended, she's gone. But I touched her feet one time, all this crowd, and I touched her feet and I got up. I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. And then my mother touched her
Wow.
feet and talked to her, and she came to me and said that Anandamayi Ma said that you will be a teacher in the West when you grow up.
Wow.
And then, so when I do my sound baths, I've started speaking a little bit about sound, how it heals, about the journey of the soul, going within, like Jesus said. So I said, with my sound baths, I'll take you within. That's what Jesus wanted to show. That's where you'll find the kingdom of God. And that's what I'm going to do with my sound bath. And then a psychic, last 2 months ago, some psychic was reading and she said, oh, sound bath is only 5% of what you'll do. 95% will be teaching. So I guess I have to start teaching online something. And
Yeah.
then Anand Ma's prediction when I was 6 years old that I'll be a teacher in the West would come
Wow.
true.
Well,
Wow.
so what made you come over to the States?
Oh, so I went to an engineering college that is like the MIT of India, and 65% of students from there come to the US to
Okay.
do higher studies, so I did chemical engineering because I wanted to, in Delhi's pollution, everybody knows notorious. It was notorious then too. So I wanted to learn chemical engineering and environmental engineering so I could solve India's air pollution problem.
Wow.
Okay. So once I did chemical engineering, I got a job in a conglomerate, uh, of that made everything from soaps to toilet paper to vehicles to liquor. So in my practice time, the first year they make you go everywhere because we are from IIT, so they want to groom us to become senior executives because we are from this great school. So the ones who didn't come to the US to do higher studies stayed and did some jobs, and I stayed. I didn't want to come to the US because I wanted to help India. But when I was doing this job at this factory, I made so many changes being this, engineer, and I want to solve problems. I solved a lot of problems in the factory. So the vice president of that country, factory, liquor is the best liquor in India, like Shaw Wallace. I didn't drink at that time at all. And so I would get free liquor bottles, and that would make me friends because I would give them away. And now I know the value. Now I know the value of this high-end liquor, just one sip. But I don't drink anymore again. But in the middle, I drank when I came to the US because it's not part of the culture, part of the socializing culture. My wife would say, if you don't drink, people will think that you're wanting to be holier than thou. You're trying to be superior. So I said, so I started drinking a little bit. So I've given that up again. Uh, so the VP of that place said, "You're doing such wonders here. Why don't you go study abroad and become even better and come back and do better?" So he said, "No, no, I'm going to stay in India." He says, "Come to my house and we'll talk over beer." So he said, "Okay." you don't want to go, that's fine, but prove yourself first. Show that you got an admission in the college in the US, and then you choose not to go. So then I applied. I was so not wanting to go that I got this list from the US Embassy of all the colleges in the US. And I told this kid, now my colleagues from IIT, they would prepare like which college they want to go. They would research all the catalogs, like what's the temperature like. And I took this list and I gave it to a kid. And I said, pick me 10, randomly pick 10 colleges. And one of them was SUNY ESF, College of Environmental Sciences in Syracuse. Imagine how I go with the flow. That
Yeah.
just shows how I go with the flow. So he picked, and I just applied to those 10 colleges because I wasn't like the other people who wanted to go Stanford and MIT and Yale and all of that. I wasn't at that high because I didn't have that ambition. I didn't have the highest GPA and stuff to come to the US, But somehow I got some scholarship. I got admission in Syracuse University, SUNY ESF campus, and I came and became a TA, and I taught environmental pollution and all of that. And I met Stacy on the dance floor on the second day, and that was a comedy of errors because I did not read and prepare myself for US colleges. I didn't know the vocabulary like other people did. So my other Indian colleagues I found there to get an apartment with. First day, beautiful day, fall in Syracuse, orange trees, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we are going to go look for an Indian grocery store. I said, hell no. I'm like, this is the first beautiful day in the US. I'm going to go look for an Indian grocery store. This is a Sikh guy and a South Indian guy, more conservative. And I'm from Delhi. I want to like meet people, see what the girls look like. So I open the catalog, the brochure, and it says, in the campus, freshman ice-breaking events are happening. Now, I didn't know the vocabulary. I just interpreted freshman meaning anybody fresh to college.
Oh.
But I was there for master's. I was not for undergrad. Now,
Oh.
that changed my life because if I knew what it meant, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, and that's how I met Stacy because I went to the events.
Oh.
So these little things in life are just so crazy. So they say little knowledge is a dangerous thing. I guess it was dangerous because it got me married for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very early on. Yeah. So I went to campus, we did all this ice-breaking event stuff, and there were so many coincidences there. And I met Stacy, and I had made these little sheets of paper with my name and number, like a business card. So I saw her, I was saying goodbye. I said, oh, by the way, here's my, and the email had just started, 96 or 94, 94.
94.
Email had just started, so you had my email address because the campus gives you this like gted.edu, So, and I said to her, dropped her at the campus, to her, looking forward to a wonderful relationship with you. And I walked away. I didn't see her again until one time it was on campus. She was walking somewhere because there was some concert going on, and she was walking up the hill. So I just ran to the end of the hill where she was projected to walk to. We are shy in India. We don't approach women like that. So I just sat down in her path, while she was going up the hill, and then, oh, you! I know you. Hello, hello, hello. And so in India, what you do in those days, if you wanted to start a courtship, it was easier to invite the whole group. So they would say yes, because one girl will not say yes to come on a date or something.
Oh,
So I
wow.
said, hey, why don't you and your friend come to my place and I'll cook you some Indian lunch? Okay.
Nice.
They came, I made some food on the floor. There was no furniture. And this was the first time in her life Stacy liked potatoes. She said, I don't like potatoes. The first time she liked potatoes.
Wow, how sweet.
So then she was undergrad because I met her in the undergrad thing. So then she was not even 18 yet. And I didn't know these laws about
Oh.
under 18, over 18. We don't have that in India because in India they have songs about, oh, you're 16 and I'm 25. You know. And so, no, nothing happened. She turned 18 in a few months. But so then the rumor amongst the Indian circle, oh, you cradle snatcher. I didn't know what that meant. So I had to look that up. What the hell is a cradle? What's a cradle snatcher? Um, so Stacy is, like 7.5 years younger to me. But I look quite young. I don't look 57, do I? I don't dye my hair
No.
yet.
Oh,
Uh, well, like
No.
you stop dyeing, so I will never dye my hair. I will be the way nature wants me to be.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've been gray for about 15 years, so I've just been
and
hiding
it
it.
looks great. Looks very nice.
Thank you. This is
Well,
so,
if it doesn't look nice, just wear a hat like this guy. A cap.
yeah.
Put a
yeah,
cap on.
yeah, he doesn't have any hair,
I
so
don't have any hair. I shave my head.
Oh, wow. You look like a monk. You look like a monk.
It's kind of chilly right now in Houston, so like
Oh, okay. Okay.
and I don't have central heat in my house, so it's just like I kind of love this kind of where you get to put on a hoodie and
Yeah, there's no central heat in India. So when people travel, they feel nature. That's why people like traveling. You go to South America and the windows are open and you feel nature. You feel the humidity. Morning
yeah,
is different, afternoon is different. And you kind of subconsciously like that, but you don't know why. It's because it's the way you're living in nature.
you're
And just
right.
put on more clothes. You just put on more clothes and you feel like you can feel that here. Just don't turn on the AC, turn the windows open, turn the fan on, let the breeze flow in, and you'll feel like you're in South America, you know?
Yeah,
yeah.
you're absolutely right about that.
And so it creates a variety during the day. It gives you different experiences. You feel the change of nature, of seasons, you know?
Yeah,
Uh, and so foods in India also they change with season. Here you get everything every season. So it's quite not as wonderful, like you can know, so the smells in your memory, oh, now you're smelling okra. It must be winter coming, you know.
Mm,
So your mom's cooking and the things. So seasonally your food changes, which is wonderful. Um,
yeah.
so
So,
then so I did my environmental engineering, went through the consulting thing, did environmental consulting, worked for the corporate America, worked for consulting companies, worked for GE, and then I started a startup, like, so I got into the startup world, Art Online in 2001. And the VCs that saw my work said, "Oh, art will never sell online." Those debates those days were like, "Will shoes ever sell online?" You'll see all these op-ed columns on those days. Will jewelry ever sell online? No, jewelry has to be touched and felt and tried on. But jewelry sells online.
yeah.
Now, clothes, shoes sell online. Zappos, it sold for $4 billion. You know, so will shoes? No, shoes have to be tried. You have to walk on them. They will never sell online. Same thing with when I sold. McKinsey got me to India to show my business plan. I had already made a website and stuff to sell art because I wanted to use the internet in some good ways. Um, but they said art will never sell. So I gave up and I did it somewhat a little bit on my own. But that's what got me to Austin. There was an Indian diaspora website called Sulekha, which means good writing. So it was all about good writing, contribution of writing. And so I had this website with all these Indian artists, right? All these thumbnails and Zoom. I wrote the code for it. I learned how to program. So my brother is a intellectual reader. He reads and writes. So he was part of Sulekha. He sent me a link. So I saw that. I was in Atlanta at the time working for GE. So I said to this guy, "Do you want my art?" In those days, e-cards had started, the e-card movement where you send cards with pictures and e-cards.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah,
So he had e-cards. So I said this was in Austin. This company, Sulekha, was in Austin. I was in Atlanta. So I said to him to promote my artist that was in my art website. It was myexhibition.com. Myexhibition.com. It was a democratization of art. Everybody could upload their art. It was the very first one. Nobody was there online at that time. Um, so he, so yeah, so I sent it to the CEO of Sulekha. I said, "Why don't you replace your graphics with my artist artwork? That will promote the artist and you get real art as e-cards." He said, "Yes, I like your art, but you're from IIT. I want you too." The College of India, because he was Indian guy here, startup. So
Hmm.
he wanted me as well. So I said, "Okay, great. I'll come to Sulekha." So I joined the startup here. He was giving me pittance because he said, you sell ads on the website. Uh, but I left within 6 months. There was some kind of issue, but I gave them two great ideas. So I'm an idea guy. So that company was, going down and down and down, and they had no more money left. They couldn't figure out how to make money. So I gave them two ideas. And in the Bay Area, still they talk about Sulekha. How did Sulekha become so big? It was two ideas: e-ticketing and classifieds, and that's what they still survive on. Now they have 1,000 people in so and then I went back to corporate America, did contract work. I said I like Austin when I moved here for Sulekha, so I did contract work and I started. So my mom for my wedding had bought these jewelry pieces. So that's how I got into crystals. Okay. So this is the journey. So she bought some jewelry, and I used to work for environmental company, right? In the environmental consulting companies, a lot of women work because they come to the ecology background, right? Ecology and biology. So they become they want to be stewards of the environment. So there are a lot more women in these companies, or there's a balance. So I invited everybody to my house when my mom came over. So we cooked food for them, and then my mom took them to the bedroom and opened her big, huge, massive suitcase that typically Indians travel with, and showed them all this stuff. And they're just in that room, and I'm in the pool, and then all these women come and say, "Can you get us more of this jewelry?" I said, "What the heck is that?" And I'm like, "Wow!" As a chemical engineer, I had not seen these kinds of colors in nature, because you have to mine them and polish them to make it all this colorful. And so I was mesmerized myself. So when I went back to India, I went to this guy who my mom had purchased from, and I was just dazzled by all these semi-precious stones. So I said, "What is this?" He said, "Semi-precious." So I went home, 96, and bought semiprecious.com. If he
Semi.
had said, if he had
Wow.
said these are gemstones, I would have bought gemstones.com. That was a much, much bigger domain name, you know? And then
Yes.
Wow.
so then I started taking like a simple camera. I started taking pictures and started a side hustle while I worked for GE with HTML. I learned HTML to put those few sales here and there. Then some guy approached me. He wanted to sell silver, so he went to the next level. And then my friend from India wanted to partner, so we partnered and we did like a $500,000 in semi-precious. So semi-precious.com was in the first page of Google for all these crystals and stuff until VC funded companies started coming in, until Walmart started coming online. I was like in the beginning, the pioneers of online commerce, but wasn't in the Bay Area, so I didn't get funding and become scale it. My wife didn't want to move from here. So if I'd gone to the Bay Area, maybe I would have been a semi-precious jewelry person because I was the first guy, but I didn't do that. So just bootstrapping. And then when these big companies started showing up on Google, Google changed the algorithm to favor the big new VC-funded companies because they are going to compete for the homepage now. Like mom and pop shops on the first page, how much budget are they going to spend to compete to be on the first page? So Google had a penguin panda update, and boom, the game changed. My traffic dropped overnight. I had like 5 people working from a house, packing jewelry, taking pictures, and da da da. I had 11,000 SKUs. I built my own e-commerce system because in those days, e-commerce platforms were very expensive. So I wrote my whole e-commerce database and logic. It had AI in those days. Someday I have to write the story of all the features I had. Even Shopify doesn't have that today. Still have the code running somewhere. Just I show off to people. Look at my website. Look at all these features. So then when Google screwed me, um, I couldn't make that money. So I went back to IT. There was a friend of mine selling in Austin called Austin Bazaar. He sells austinbazaar.com. He sells musical instruments. And so he said, "I need help." I said, "Okay, what is it?" It was just the same week. So I went to his store and SQL Server database. I was very good at that stuff. And I looked at his work. They were all doing everything in Excel macros, like hours and hours. There was anxiety and, data synchronization errors and da da da. So I said to him, I looked at it all, and I said, "I'll do magic. Give me 90 days, I'll do magic." And I did magic. The business grew by 30% that year because I automated everything. And so now the smart guys were just being used to actually do work and not, firefighting, So that was a great experience. I loved that. And um, did some other IT contract work back with GE, contractual relationship, developing environmental compliance SaaS. Like it's the biggest one right now. Tesla uses it, SpaceX uses it, Toyota uses it. It's called Benchmark Gen Suite. So my architecture, initial days, I helped my boss start that company. But I also am an entrepreneur, so I didn't really stay there. I went on to do my own things. So then a friend of mine came to she's a Reiki master. She came to my garage to pick something. And all this inventory, when I shut down semipressure.com, was in the garage. And she says, "My hair standing in my arms. These rocks don't like it here. They want to get out." So all this inventory is sitting there. I said, "Okay." During COVID, there was all these small offices, like massage therapist offices. They were all available for cheap because they couldn't do massage anymore because of COVID. So I said, "Okay, I have a remote data job that I do. I'll just use this inventory, put it in a room, and put it on Google search, and people will show up." So I started Westlake Rock Shop 3 years ago in a small 50 by 50 or a 10 by 10 room, all this jewelry compact, like dazzle, dazzle. Two or three people came in from search. It was the third building. It was difficult for people to find, but they had a blast. And the reviews were great. So using that content and reviews, I was able to get, after a year, a real store in Ben White and Westgate, in the Healing Vortex. So then when I created the Healing Vortex, I learned about this sound bath thing. And I used to drum. So I would play the thing and I would play the drum that I put, and people were like, wow, that's great. I said, oh, I can do sound bath. And then when I did the curating of the psychics, they said, oh, Krishna is coming through, and your grandmother says this sound bath is in your DNA. This is your ancestry. You're born for this. I said, what? Okay, I'm a sound healer. So that's when I learned that Krishna is actually real, because
Yeah.
multiple people I would curate would talk about Krishna coming through and giving me advice, and my grandmother. So grandmother and Krishna and Buddha also. Somebody Buddha, I said Buddha and Krishna is like, pick up the bow and arrow and fight. And Buddha is like, forgive. So I'm like confused, like, where should I be? Where should I be compassionate or should I fight? And that's still a battle, So then somebody says discernment, So I guess even Krishna forgave 100 times and 99 times, and the 100th time he chopped the head off of his own relative.
Mm.
So he forgave 99 times. So I guess the thing is that you forgive, and then if it still causes nuisance, then chop chop.
Wow, you have had quite a life so far. Wow, just you are definitely a manifesting generator. So yes, Anup is a manifesting generator in human design. And so, yeah, you definitely have your interests in all kinds of places. But right now, your sole career is in the Healing Vortex.
Healing Vortex and the Healing Temple, both are under the Healing Vortex Inc. umbrella. I might
Okay.
just call this confusion. This is the temple because it has, this room and where I do sound baths, sound healing, meditations,
Oh, cool.
chanting, teaching. People have taught classes here that are holistic in nature. And I invite everybody to come and book this room. First few times maybe can be free also. I have chairs, everything, microphone, slides, TV for slides. But in the last 2 years, I learned that everything that Hinduism has, so Hinduism is multidimensional, like all religions should be. There are darker frequencies of rituals and there are lighter ones. So Hinduism is all bulked as one, where we have the Nagas who worship the reptilians and even the reptilians have ascended masters. So there's an ascended version of the reptilian race where the Hindus worship. And so there are all these black magic stuff. It's part of Hinduism too. The wanderers who wander, then these mystics who go into the caves, they get their own channeling. Then there are people who do just reading. Then there's the Ved people of the book, the ancient scriptures that were channeled by the sages thousands of years ago. So there are people who are very theoretical about that. They get all their knowledge from that. But all that is bulked into one Hinduism. Whereas in the West, somehow anything you change different, you think differently, you make a new sect. There's Lutherans, there are Catholics, there are Protestants. What? Why? Whereas Hinduism, the Shiva guys are not fighting with the Krishna guys. Ganesha people are not fighting with Lakshmi guys. They all worship all of them, depending on what the festival and what the intent is. So festival of Diwali is where you want to get enriched. You want to feel rich. Your business wants to succeed. You worship Lakshmi. And then another festival comes where you worship the goddesses, the 9 goddesses, the Navratri, 9 nights. There's no conflict between the people who worship goddess, worship the people who worship the masculine Shiva or Kali. There's no fighting in the roads.
Yeah.
The judgment thing is not there. So it's very,
Have you thought about doing a class on this, or have you done a class?
well, actually, Meg has told me. Meg is a sound healer, and she's like, you need to do a class on Hinduism
Yeah.
and archetypes. Yeah. And also I learned Ganesha is real too. I would complain to some of the psychics who come in, or Crystal, what's happening? Nobody's coming to the store. And she says, oh, I just saw Ganesha go like this with his trunk and say, if he's not going to ask me for help and give me oranges, how can I help him?
Buddy.
So I learned that, yes, you have to serve. You have to serve. If you want some 3D material goods, you have to serve some of these gods that are not maybe for your ascension of the soul, but for your material comfort here. You have to ask for help. So
Hmm.
Jesus says, ask and you shall receive. So if I'm just going to be frustrated and panic and all that, I have to sit down calmly. Like some of the psychics would say, would have readings in my store. And I'm like, okay, we need to make signs. I need to put signs. She said, Anup, calm down. It's not what you do, it's how you be. I'm still learning that. You have to make the vibration of the type so that it will bring that vibration people to you. If you're going to panic, you'll get panicky people coming to the store. You know, if you're going to be, and that's happening. Better people are coming in. The dark witches are gone, but I've learned about dark witchcraft. I've learned of light witchcraft, and so all these rituals, if you use it for, uh, the more you do it for your want, it's darker. It's not dark. It's just lower. The more you do it as surrender, give me what I need, God. I surrender. So it's the difference between wanting and needing. That's all. So if you do more of the rituals for wants, then you may not have the highest wisdom to know what would be good for you. You want based on impulse and what you see, your ego. So your ego is driving the want. So it's better to surrender and just let God give you what they want. So then I learned the meaning of surrender. I didn't know what the hell it meant. Everybody says surrender, but what does that mean? So I learned that surrender means just letting God give you what you need, rather than I need money. Oh, this candle, that bath. It's all good. It's all play. Krishna says it's all play, and you play with less anxiety if you know it's all play. His very famous line is about play. Enjoy the work you do without the anxiety of its reward. Let that be my thing. Let me reward you what I think. So, because here people say, "Oh, I did this for you. Oh, I deserve more." That anxiety is always there. I should deserve more back from society. I did so much for this person. If that anxiety is not there, if you really totally trust and surrender, that let you give me the reward, then you just keep working. It doesn't matter you work more, then you stop measuring. You just enjoy the work.
Great message.
That is true. I've learned to do that since COVID. Just surrender and let it come when it comes. And
Yeah.
it,
So
it
prayer is
works.
asking for help, which is good because you're still a human. You want to help, and maybe you pray for other people, right? Because your prayers do help. So you pray and then you meditate. So meditation is opening the mind for the cosmic wisdom, and prayer is you sending a message. Meditation is receiving message, both. And with sound, I do silence. Silence is in every religion, and now I learned the silence is actually silence of thought, not of sound, because I enable through my sound, I enable silence. And the way I do it is the multitudes of sounds. So as soon as I'm playing one drum, I go and play a different beat on a different drum. And then within 1 minute, I'm playing a different drum. And so the mind is always pulled back and, oh, what's that sound? Oh, what's that? I create curiosity. And that's why I get people very deep, because I never let thoughts come in, because they're always, what is he playing now? What is he
That's
playing now?
yeah, that's a really good point. That kind of stuff really does work, help quiet the mind for sure, because your mind has a task all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes.
love
So I
that.
keep adding more and more tools, and I want to start something where we create a collective of tools, assets that I share. It's a sharing economy, and so I always give out my big gongs to people. People come in, can I borrow your gong? And they take my gong. Some people have like, this is my gong, so it's sacred. But I'm okay with my gong going helping other people. So I want to get giant gongs and my giant bowls got stolen. So I want to create a collective. People come and rent, $5, take a big bowl, $5, take a big drum. And so they are now able to create multiple experience for their own customers. It's not the same singing bowls every time.
Hmm.
This time I got Anup's big drum. This time I got Anup's big bowl, singing bowl. This time I got the pyramid. So it's just collectively work together.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
That's amazing. So, what we need to wrap this up in a few minutes, but I just wanted to know what are some future visions you have for the Healing Vortex?
Okay, so my idealistic thing was to use rock shops. And this was a psychic told me that when she came in. She was not even a psychic. She was works for um, Kendra Scott, but she happened to be a psychic. And she says, I know what you're doing. You're using rock shops as a way to sell spirituality. And that's something that's within me. That's my goal. Like people come in and I say, hey, have you ever heard of a sound bowl? And I go, no. Oh, what's that? Oh, it feels so good. Why? And then that opens up for a conversation. And then I give them all the theory of sound and chakras and energy body, and they get intrigued and they listen because they just felt something real. So that's the mission, is to use rock shops to create more and more spiritual centers that attract people naturally. You don't have to market. When you create a wellness center, you have to market. When you create a rock shop, people are coming to buy crystals and incense and sage, and then you say, hey, there's a $5 sound bath class. You want to come? Or you seem very anxious. Do you want to see a sample? Come behind. And then I give them a 15-minute sound bath for free. And they're like, wow, I need to bring my mother and my daughter. And they get into this journey
That's
of going within.
I love
So
that.
that's my mission, is to do that, but that may be too big to unless some VC funding happens, or I create a collective nonprofit to or create a best practice for rock shops that exist. So hey, give me some space. I will do this. Let me find you trained sound healers in your rock shop. The other thing is, the other psychic said maybe she sees a web, and so maybe it's the internet. I want to create a web-based community. I have some ideas that I'm not going to divulge here, or how to create very vibrant communities around food and music and stuff. There's a very clever idea. It's around Bitcoin. It's around decentralization and crypto. It's a beautiful idea. So maybe
Okay.
what she saw as a web, it might work. It's very easy. And I'm already doing that somewhat here. And I will expose that out in the next call, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Awesome. Exciting. I keep meaning to stop into your store because I pass by there on Thursdays. But I'm
It's not
always
my store. It's everybody's space. Come and use it.
I love that. Okay. Yes, I will definitely stop by. And Cisco, his store is kind of near the Colombian place.
Oh yeah, up near 71 and
Oh,
south.
yeah,
South.
Congress and Ben White. So ancient mystery sign, I'm going to change now. It's just so expensive. And I
Yeah.
keep thinking my crypto is going to go up, but crypto is going down. So I have to borrow some money, and it's $1,500 to change it. But a lot of people go,
Gosh,
wow,
wow.
ancient mysteries. Then they look up ancient mysteries, it says closed. So they don't
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
So, and then some feng shui woman came in 2 days ago, so cute. She was like telling me, clean this, clean that, put this above this line. This is the line
Oh,
above.
really?
Oh, she was so nice. And then she said, oh, look, that window's dirty, clean that. And outside, clean outside. And you need to change the sign. That's feng shui. It's blocking. It's all energy. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it.
Oh, that's
Cleanliness is
good.
very important. Very important. Cleanliness is very important.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's so
yeah.
true. So, what's one thing that you do every day that you feel is important for your spiritual and emotional well-being?
I think just engaging with people who come in who are looking for a crystal that's for anxiety, stress, or money, and I'm able to engage them in a conversation, and I give them in like 20 minutes, I just change their life. Their awareness just goes to a new level. So many people come back after a few days and say, after your sound bath, I slept like I've never slept before. Not just one. I mean, there are some reviews online. There was a medium who came, and I just put her on the chair in the Vortex, and I just give her a 5 minute sound thing, and she posted that she's never slept like this before in her life. So
Wow, that's
sound,
amazing.
I do not feel it because I've not been to a sound bath. Well, I have Megs, but I'm just like shocked what it does to other people.
Hmm.
Oh
And
yeah.
we even here, so when there were psychics here, I would do a sound bath for some random person, and then a psychic would walk in and say, "What did you do? There is stuff here." She left. You need to sage every time. You need to sage after you do your sound bath because it releases stuff and it stays here.
Huh.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure there's lots of stuff going on there, but it's not like a lot of amazing stuff. And I have, been in there before in that room that you're in, and I feel like it feels good for sure. So,
Yeah, yeah, and it's all on wheels. So if you need more space, we can take everything out. So I'm doing all of that, decluttering, like Meg used to say, declutter, declutter.
yeah.
So it gets cluttered, then I clean it up. But in the front, I've created a lounge, like Third Eye Lounge. So now there's a couch and chairs. So I removed all these product racks in the middle. So when you enter, it's like open, and it's very open. A homeless guy in a car, he's living in the car, but he has like 6 instruments or something. And he came in, oh, bring your instrument. So he started playing ukulele and guitar, and I drummed. So we'll start doing jams like Halcyon used to have on 4th Street, evening
Oh,
jams.
yeah.
Nice.
So I
That's
just need people to hold space because I have a 14-year-old daughter, so I can't sacrifice every evening. So I
Yeah.
do Wednesday sound baths for $11, full-fledged. I'm training other people. I give discounts on the on the whole crystal ball if the buyer learns from me and give space at least once a month to play the music so people can come and affordably sit just on donation basis and meditate through sound. So if you guys are looking for a full 7 chakra thing, I'll give you such a good rate if you just promise to come once a month to play the bowls, and we'll put you on the calendar. Anybody out there who's listening?
All
Yeah.
right, awesome. So yeah, the Healing Vortex in Austin.
Yeah, healingvortex.org, and then the Instagram is Healing Temple Austin and Healing Vortex Austin. No, yeah, Healing Temple Austin and Healing Vortex Austin.
Okay, great. Well, we've really enjoyed hearing your story.
Yes.
Stories.
Next time I go
Well,
to
the other
Austin,
thing of the witchy store that was here, the Ancient Mysteries, I inherited their herbs, and my God, that also I want people to know. So many customers walk in, they've cured themselves of chronic illness. I hear their stories from all these herbs. So
Cool. I love
trust
that.
me,
That's
if
great.
people who have been healed by themselves come and buy these herbs, then we should look at that more. Let's get more into herb knowledge. And I want to do classes here. If somebody's out there passionate about herbs and wants to teach some classes, come and teach some classes on herbology.
yes.
Sorry, I had to do that pitch.
That's
We have
that's great.
150,
No.
150 organic herbs. It's all organic.
Yeah.
That's
You
amazing.
can eat rose petals, very high vibrating thing. I just ate one this morning.
Love
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
There's people out there who are all into that too, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
I
need to
take
come.
flower essences, oils.
Oh, yeah. There's one lady who wants to teach a class on that. I have some. It's just you just have to put a little bit. So it's not the amount. It's like homeopathy. It's the frequency of that chemical. There's an
Yeah.
energy. Oh, so that's another wisdom I learned. I'm like, okay, Hindus have a million gods, they say. People like make fun. And then I realized, oh, because we know that tulsi and cacao and rose and marigold, they all have a frequency, and those frequencies are intelligent, and those are the goddesses. So that's why Hindus recognize all of them, and that's why we have a million gods, small gods.
Love it. Yeah. So interesting. Awesome. Well, thank you, Anup. We'll say goodbye now. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. It was splendid.
Yes,
Splendid. Do visit. Thank you.
yes. And next time I'm in Austin, I'll make sure Sharon takes me over there. So
Yeah, I'll order a meal. We can eat together.
and Indian food is, I mean, if you could take me somewhere, man, I just love Indian food so much these days.
Well, I'll make it. Instapot in the back. So in the future, all events will have food. Throw the rice and lentils and turmeric and cumin. Beep. There's a rice button. And 10, 15 minutes, you have a meal for 20, 30 people.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Eat at home, everybody. Eat at home. There's no excuse. Instapot, one button meals. Lots of them.
Yeah, I know. I've used it before. They do work.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anu, thank you so much. We'll catch you soon.